One.
What up, 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 what up? What's going on, America? It's your boy Rod and Don. We're back in the building again. It's another fly app that's about to hit you in the head with Brooklyn Beards and Ball Sports Show. We are in the house representing so much sports, so much stuff to talk about. We in the thick of so much goodness stuff and good things going on here in the sports world. What's going on with your Big D? What you got for America, bro?
Oh man, I'm chilling. Glad to be here. Glad to destroy you on another show. I'm looking forward to that. Oh man!
But listen, y'all want to see him destroy us? Make sure y'all subscribe. Okay, hit that like button. You can watch it over and over and over again.
That's right.
Of all the the different delusional ways that D thinks he's winning these arguments, but nevertheless, it's at your disposal. So just hit that like and share. Facebook, YouTube, you know what to do.
All right, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, listen, before we get into all the goodies that we got to talk about regarding sports, and I know we always do what we do here, but, we do talk about the culture, and we do want to acknowledge the shooting that took place in Nashville, Tennessee, here, and everybody that's involved with our show here, Brooklyn Beards Ball Sports Show. We want to send our condolences. As many of you may have heard, I'm sure by now, a school shooting occurred in Nashville, Tennessee, and according to ABC News, and there's a lot of obviously viable outlets that are reporting this all over, both on the internet and on the national media coverages of so forth. A Christian school in Nashville, Tennessee was subject to a shooter that was armed with 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun, and they killed 3 children and some adults, unfortunately. The suspect, Audrey Hale, 28, from Nashville, came into the school, and unfortunately, Evelyn Dykos, Hallie Scruggs, and William Kinney, all 9 years old, passed away, along with the adults, Cynthia Peck, who was 61, Mike Hall, 61, and Catherine Kuntz, 60 years old. So listen, we want to send our condolences, our prayers to the families of these souls that were lost today. The assailant was apprehended and killed on site, and again, we're just living in some tough times, man, so we just got to continue to pray and hold each other up with as much strength and prayer as we possibly can. And we just wanted to start the show just to show our condolences and to just to be reflective on what occurred today.
Yeah, incredibly sad situation. Once again, prayers to the families and the kids and everyone that was impacted. I'm certainly they had to be impacted by that situation. So
no doubt.
Hopefully they're able to move on from it and just be able to deal with the situation. Tough times.
No question.
Whew. Well, let's talk a little bit about some sports.
Yep.
Brock Purdy is in the news.
Yep.
Okay. So, unfortunately, so I had a conversation. Now, let me give you the backstory. I had a conversation with Rod. The GM of the 49ers is I think it's the teams are meeting, right? It's like what is that they're attending?
They have it's a conference or something, and they attend with the teams and coaches and GMs and all that stuff, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think owners are a part of it, but I can't be for sure, because they have a lot of off-season meetings where they get together and discuss different things. So, and then they, invite media, and they, interview GMs and coaches and get some thoughts on the upcoming season.
Okay, so according to Adam Schefter, 49ers GM John Lynch endorses Brock Purdy as the team starter. And I quote, "I think Brock has earned the right with his play that he's probably the leader in the clubhouse at that. If we were to line up, he'd probably take the first snap." So I sent this to Rod earlier, and Rod was excited. Yeah, definitely. yeah, Brock should be the starter.
I don't know about
And so
excited.
my question is, I mean, he was excited as if Brock was, replacing Dak or something. I don't know. But my question
Go
is,
ahead,
what
man.
happened to the quarterback competition? Now, I'm all for it, and I am a huge fan of Brock Purdy. I think what he did was short of amazing. It was a amazing run. And I think that he has put himself in the conversation to be the starter. But given the fact of what the 49ers gave up to get Trey Lance, I think that it is healthy. I think it's in the best interest of the 49ers to have a quarterback competition, not a controversy, a quarterback competition. The best person should be the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. This isn't Dallas where it's a popularity contest or whoever they think is going to sell more jerseys. This is about, we want the best player. If that proves to be Brock Purdy, I'm perfectly fine with that. If it proves to be Trey Lance, then I'm fine with that also. But just keep in mind that we want the best player. And how do you know how will we know? They will compete for the starting position, because if we remember, Trey Lance suffered an injury, right? Broke his ankle, right? So that we don't know. Yeah, he was not as poised. He wasn't as smooth out the gate as Brock Purdy was. But let's face it, Kyle Shanahan and Lynch saw something that they were willing to trade up and give away picks to acquire the pick to get Trey Lance. So I'm just not keen on just throwing that away because Brock Purdy has played so well. I think that they should compete for the position. And if indeed Brock Purdy wins it out, more power to it. It gives Trey Lance some more time to learn, to get more seasoned as a quarterback, or they can move on from him. They have Sam Darnold as a backup. So, I mean, will we keep three quarterbacks? I mean, after last year, that debacle of injuries, yeah, perhaps, but I clearly we're probably not going to keep three quarterbacks. But who knows? If Trey Lance shines, maybe there is a value now for him. Maybe we can recoup some of the picks that we gave away to acquire him. So that is what I'm saying. I don't think we should just automatically rubber stamp Brock Purdy as the starter. He has earned the respect and to be in the conversation. But I think a competition is always a healthy and good thing. What do you say?
Well, look, I feel like this, and I told D this, America, that basically the whole situation with this, I agree with John Lynch. I agree that Brock Purdy has done enough, more than enough, to keep the starting position as the San Francisco 49ers quarterback. The man led them to an NFC championship game. Okay. He was undefeated and lost his only game in the NFC championship game to an injury. Not that he played bad, not that he did anything to lose the game. He got hurt. And what did he run off? 13 straight wins or whatever it was? I don't know how many wins it was. It was not 13, but it was a good amount of games that Brock won. All the games that he started in, I think, pretty much. He won. And he's done nothing to lose the job. And I think when you talk about a competition, the thing is this: you only bring in competition to a position is if less the guy who's starting, and in this case it would be Brock Purdy, right? Who came in for an injured Trey Lance, right? If that guy was not giving you enough, or you needed to see a little bit more, you're not totally convinced by what Brock can do, then you say, okay, you know what? Let's still bring in Trey, because we still haven't seen enough of him yet. I'm not totally convinced by Brock. I'm not totally sure of what he can do. I'm still a little skeptic about certain situations to his game and in certain elements to his game that I think we're going to need to test a little bit more before we make a commitment on who's going to start. That would make sense. But Brock's done nothing to lose his position. Nothing at all. I mean, he hasn't turned. He wasn't a turnover machine. He steadily ran the offense, and he was not. And I mean, you trust me. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying all of this. So please, y'all know I'm definitely speaking not from my heart. I'm using my football knowledge now. Okay, Brock Purdy was not a managerial quarterback. He was a quarterback that threw the ball when he needed to throw the ball, made throws. Yes, he benefited from a great weaponry of talent around him offensively, but Brock Purdy was able to make throws. He was able to lead his team in certain drives and was very poised and was very calm. And he's a leader. And you could clearly see that everybody loves him, not just the fans in San Francisco, but also the team. And so when you look at Trey Lance, basically, I'm thinking of R&B. I love my grooves, right? Listen, Trey Lance, the whole thing with Trey Lance is this. You haven't done enough to be in a situation where somebody can say, you know what? He shouldn't lose his position to an injury. You haven't done anything. There's nothing you've done. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as trading up for him, and now you're playing him based upon because he was a high draft pick, you gave up capital to get him. Honestly, this is an anomaly. And I'm going to tell you why. Only because of Kyle Shanahan. The way he runs that team and the way the 49ers are built, almost anybody to some degree, and I'm not going to say anybody, but for the most part, the way he can plug and play players in there, you don't really need, it's not like you're counting on the quarterback or Trey Lance to be something or to develop or matriculate into a good quarterback fast enough so that the team can get to where they're going. No, the team is already there. They're just a couple of throws away from a quarterback. And Brock, clearly, again, as I stated, he has been able to come into that system and into that offense, and he played well. And so Trey Lance is not the kind of quarterback that you need to, like, oh my gosh, we need him to succeed. We need him to be the Andrew Luck to the Colts. We need him to be the Peyton Manning coming out of Tennessee to the Colts because our team is so bad. We need this guy to play. We don't have time to wait. We got to put him out there into the fire. You don't have to do that with him. So my whole thing is they may end up trading him. Now, here's my thing. Let him compete for the second string, which I think
come on.
Why not? Why can't he play? He can't back up Brock?
No, that's fine. What I'm saying is, why are we trying to take the competitive aspect out of the game? I don't understand why.
Because
I'm not saying that Trey Lance should be the starter. I'm not saying Trey Lance should be the starter. What are you saying? I'm saying that Brock and him should. I said the best quarterback out of the bunch should be the starter.
You don't think based upon what you've seen this year with Brock Purdy that he has not earned himself? He has, but a position without competition.
But just like anything else, right? You want the starter, whoever it is, not to necessarily look over their shoulder, but you want them to value that position and not feel like, hey, there's no replacement. I'm it.
You think Brock feels that way?
I'm not saying that he does. I'm saying that. See, you guys haven't experienced this in a while, right? You had Dak Prescott, right? And you had Tony Romo, right? When Dak replaced Romo, right?
Yeah.
How was Romo playing? What was Romo's age?
Romo's was still. I mean, he was playing still at a Pro Bowl level. I mean, he's a 4-time Pro Bowler up until that point. He was playing at a Pro Bowl level, but the difference there was that Romo was hurt and he was injury prone. And he had just missed a lot of games the season before that. And the season before that, he missed because you had the rib situation. Okay, you had the spleen.
Collarbone or something.
The collarbone so you had a lot of issues there with Romo as far as his health was concerned. So there was a lot of other things to consider. I mean, Trey is not, he got the injury. You expect him to come back.
But these guys are both young. But the only reason why I'm saying that Trey, for the 49ers, it would be in their best interest to at least give him a shot. You see, when it comes time for preseason and OTAs and all of that good stuff, see what he really has, right? See if he's either worth something. Maybe you trade him. Maybe he's good enough to be the starter. Maybe all of the things, because what do we know about a Shanahan offense? You need to be mobile. Both of them, check. You need to have you don't have to have the biggest arm, because Jimmy G didn't have the biggest arm, but it does help in the West Coast offense if you can push the ball downfield, right?
Right.
So clearly, out of the two, I would say, even in a sample, a limited sample, I think Trey Lance's arm is bigger than Brock's, right? As far as his downfield being passing ability.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Also, Trey Lance is a bigger, faster version of Brock Purdy. So I think from a standpoint of Trey Lance, I think his biggest issue is the fact that he doesn't have the amount of games. He doesn't have the experience that Brock Purdy has. But we gave up a lot to get him. So it automatically throwing him to the bench or saying that you're the backup or you and Sam Darnold compete to see who the backup is, I think that will take some of that competitive fire out of him. What if that was, I don't think so, though.
I don't think so. I think Brock still understands, look, I'm quote unquote, or was at least, Mr. Irrelevant, right? He still knows how fragile this thing is in the league.
And that's what we want him to do. We don't want him to be rubber stamped as the starter. He needs to still earn it, because if you earn something, and this is not just in football, the things that you work for and earn, you appreciate greater. I just don't want him to, even though he's done everything to have that shot, I don't want them just to arbitrarily hand it to him, because I think that.
So you don't think he's done? But what I'm saying is this: if he was a quarterback that came in after Trey went down, and he was good at times, and then sometimes he's a little shaky, there was inconsistency to his performance, then I can kind of sort of see, even if he still had some success and got y'all deep into the playoffs, but yet you could still see some rookieisms in him, if you will. Then I could say, okay, you still got to put him on the competitive block with Trey and give Trey an opportunity to win his starting position back, if you will, because technically he was the starter. He even started over Jimmy G, right? He was the starter. Jimmy comes in. Brock is the third. So Brock is not even in the mix, right? It was only Jimmy and Trey. But the thing is this, that Purdy comes in and you can tell that this kid was prepared and was ready to go and came in the middle of a game. Wasn't like, he knew he was going to start a week before. Right. You and I was at the game together watching him come in for the first time and clearly take his team to victory and then continue to do so. He's earned enough. He's got enough cachet. And I'm not saying that you make him your franchise quarterback, but what I am saying is, and I think what Lynch is trying to say, and this could be also something where Lynch is just trying to maybe, put some competitive fire, maybe.
Hopefully that's what it is.
Or Trey, right? To kind of get under him a little bit and make him, maybe because Trey's probably walking around, who knows, right? We don't know, where he's like, well, I know I'm going to get my job back because remember, hey, they drafted me. They traded assets to get me here, right? So, that also could be in his head, to your point about Brock, maybe not just getting the keys to the car thinking he's got the job. Trey can be going around feeling the same way, that they got to play me because they gave up too much to get me. But the truth of the matter is, with Kyle Shanahan, it doesn't matter, bro. Like, you fit in the system. It's the system that makes you, not you make the system. We're not a bad team. We're not some team that's desperate for a quarterback. We're not Carolina or Indianapolis, okay? We are a team that we're there already. And all we need is somebody who can fit into this system, make a couple of throws to Kittle and Ayuk and Debo, and we're good. We got CMC running behind us. We don't need a whole lot. All we got to do is have a guy that can throw the football. And so if you got that in Brock, who clearly has shown enough consistent play week after week against pretty good defenses, played down the stretch where it gets a lot harder, more competitive. Listen, I think, you bet.
This is from the man. This is from the man who didn't even say his name right for the first 8 wins. Refused.
He didn't earn that yet.
He refused to say it. Now all of a sudden, he's on the bandwagon. He's on the Brock Purdy bandwagon.
I'm not on the bandwagon. I mean, I'm just look. Next year they're gonna lose to my Cowboys defense because we made Purdy look like the Purdy cat that he needs to look like as the rookie. You know what I'm saying?
So what happened? What happened? Was that his first loss?
It was only because of Dak, baby. That's the only reason why y'all won that game. Okay. It was only because of Dak. If Dak didn't throw those 2 picks.
And now who's still your quarterback?
And we lost Pollard. And we
Got it.
became a one-dimensional team in the second half at that point, which I didn't
Who's your
understand.
quarterback this
Dak
year?
Prescott is still our quarterback.
When
We're
we
going to
play
have some
you
running
guys,
backs. But we're
when
going to
we
have some
play you
running
guys,
backs. Huh? Say it again.
when we play you guys,
Oh, yeah,
who will be your quarterback?
Yeah, Dak's going to be our quarterback. Yeah,
Okay.
Dak's going to be our quarterback.
All right.
Dak's going to be our quarterback. No question about it. No question about it. But, but we coming. It just takes steps. That's all. But America, listen, go with your boy Purdy. John Lynch knows what he's talking about. You go with Trey has not earned nothing yet. Now, they may put him, I'll say, and this is my last take on this PCD. I think Trey will get some burn. They'll put him in the offense. They may rotate them a little bit situationally. And that's where you're going to see some Trey in there, whatever like that. Because they want to see him, right? And he's going to get a lot of burn in preseason for sure. No question about it. So they're going to see him, and you're going to get Darnold back there too. And Darnold's going to get some burn as well, right? So you still need a viable number 2. Who will be your number 2? All right. And I think Trey should start over Darnold. Darnold can't run. He really don't fit in their system, but he's there nevertheless. I think they just really got him there for experience and insurance, because they can't assume that they're going to get another Brock Purdy out of somebody else that's unknown and unproven. So I think that's why you kind of got a Sam Darnold there. But he really doesn't fit, in my mind, into Shanahan's system. So I think you'll see Trey inserted situationally, and I think you'll get a chance to see what he's like. You know what I'm saying? But, and the thing is this, Purdy, now I will say this, D. I agree with you just a tidbit, because now teams got film on him. They got a lot of tape on him now. So they'll be ready for Brock. I think now you're going to see whether or not if he can take that next step and go to the next level. Now that defenses kind of understand his proclivities, they understand what he likes to do and what they need to take away from him in certain situations. So it's going to be interesting. But if I'm the Niners, I'm going with Brock, and I agree with John Lynch.
Okay. Well, I'm always siding with allowing players to compete. We want we want the best player for that position, whoever it may be.
So you don't think Brock's the best?
I'm not saying he isn't. I'm not saying he isn't.
So why you want competition then? I mean, in this situation,
so
in theory, I agree with you.
Why is competition a bad thing?
Okay, let me ask you a second. Who's competing with Debo? Who's going to compete?
I don't know.
So
Maybe
Debo should go into camp next year, or CMC should go into camp next year, not as RB1. Debo shouldn't be wide receiver 1. He should be WR1.
So I'm certain that the 49ers are going to draft wide receivers. I'm sure they are, right? Yeah, every year a team
so those guys are going to compete for Debo for wide receiver number 1? Is that what you're saying?
Who's to say? I mean, they've paid him a lot of money, so the likelihood that he's not, wide receiver 1 is low. But I will say this,
not because they paid him a lot of money, D, but because he's just that good. It's not only just the money; it's the fact that he's earned that spot. Like he is. No, you're not. It's unlikely that you.
So you're trying to make it. You're trying to what he's trying to do. Let me get everybody straight on this. What he's trying to do is he's trying to make it seem like I don't care for my team and I don't love my team. But I am realistic.
Not saying that at all.
Because you're trying to make it like, well, why would you ever question Debo? I will say this. Every team drafts to get better each year, right? And so do I think that Debo is a great wide receiver? Absolutely. I think he's a great wide receiver. I think he is multifaceted, multidimensional. He can be, in some teams, he would be a great running back.
Or he should come into camp thinking that he could lose his job to a rookie? Is that what you're saying?
No,
just so he could stay,
no,
keep his competitive edge and not assume that he can just take the job.
You want every player. All right, so let me ask you this. When the Cowboys were the most successful, in my opinion, there was a healthy fear of Jimmy Johnson, that they could be cut at any point, that they had to prove themselves, that nothing was given to them, right? Deion Sanders just recently, his Colorado players, they had to earn their numbers, right? He didn't even let them get their numbers. So nothing is given, nothing is guaranteed. So what I'm saying is every player should go in understanding that the end goal, it's all about the end goal. We want to win the Super Bowl. We want to be the best. And your competitive nature should feel some type of way if a rookie or someone else, because Every player that is drafted, undrafted free agents, players that are trying to make the team, they are coming to do what? Take your spot.
Right, but
So
that's not what you're
name
saying.
doesn't
You're
mean
changing
anything.
your argument, though.
No, I'm not changing my argument. I'm saying that Debo should come in as hungry as the rookie who they draft as a wide receiver. That's what I'm saying. He should be just as competitive, regardless of his name, regardless of what he's already done.
Right, but what has kept Debo at that level of consistent play that's at a high level is the fact that he understands what it takes to be successful on the field, right? He doesn't need competition for that. Good players, superstars, they understand, like, I don't need the rookie to motivate me.
I'm
like
not saying
Michael
a
Irvin,
rookie's
Troy
pushing
Aikman,
them.
or anybody for that matter. Like, in other words, those guys know. What you were saying is that a guy like Brock, right? Again, who doesn't have the cachet as a CMC, he doesn't have the pedigree or the resume of Debo or Kittles, right? So you think a guy like him needs some competition to be able to make sure that he doesn't feel like he can get comfortable, right? But what I'm saying to you is that
I'm saying that nobody should feel comfortable. It may not be them, but what I'm saying is nobody should feel comfortable. And when I mean comfort, it's not
so
like,
how would you? So
if I drop a pass, I'm getting cut.
Right, I know what you're saying.
I'm not talking about that.
Right, I understand what you're saying. But if you are a head coach of the 49ers and you have a philosophy to say no player should just feel comfortable, regardless to what your status is on this team, regardless how well you play, all pro bowler, doesn't matter. Would you give the impression to Kittles or CMC and to Debo or Trent what's his name?
Trent Williams.
Left tackle, Trent Williams. Would you give them the impression that, yo, your job, if somebody else that's on the depth chart is performing, that there's a good chance you will lose your job, that you will lose your starting? Would you make them feel that way?
Coaches do it every year and multiple times. That is shown. That is shown in free agency. It is shown in drafting, because if I'm a number one,
draft for depth though, not drafting to. I mean, you draft for depth. You draft.
So you're not drafting. So you mean to tell me?
Stars.
So you're not. Of course you are. And if you don't think,
but what I'm saying,
if you don't think the 49ers are going to draft a tight end this year, because Kittle is a great tight end, but he is a little bit long in the tooth. If you don't think they're going to draft a tight end that they eventually feel will replace him,
that's different, because you're talking about him. Obviously, he's been in the league a little bit now, right? So you're drafting for what? Not maybe to groom a replacement at some point, but not to go into camp thinking he's.
I didn't say it was immediate. I didn't say it was immediate.
That's what you're saying. You're saying competition. So competition means immediate.
So you're saying, so we definitely disagree on this. You're saying a player should come in drafted and say, hey, I'm going to make a splash in 3 years. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You're saying that any player that's drafted should come in.
No, I'm not
listen,
talking
put
about
the hat on, and
no,
everybody's hugging them.
I'm not talking about the player.
You wait and see 3 years from now.
I'm talking about the existing player. I'm talking about the player that's already solidified in his position. Now, I'm not talking about the draftee.
They should know. Debo was once drafted, right?
Right.
And he replaced somebody, right?
Right, but did he replace somebody that turned out to be as good as him?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. At some point, that person was the starter.
Right.
There's only but so many starting positions. So what you're saying,
right?
It doesn't make sense.
But D, I'm talking about a player like, if you're talking about a Kittles, a Debo, a CMC, a Trent Williams, right? Let's just use those four guys, right? You're gonna draft any player coming out of college. Obviously, he's gonna fight just to make the team. Ain't nobody coming out of college drafting in the 5th round as a left tackle looking to replace Trent Williams. Now he can have all the mindset he want, but it ain't happening, bro. Okay. Now you can be great, you can turn out to be great, you'll play well enough to make the team, but I'm not even talking about the player coming in. I'm talking about the existing player. I'm talking about Brock Purdy, who has done enough to solidify himself as a starter. And to say, if you're the 49er brass, you got to say that this guy has done enough.
You have talked for 25 minutes about Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft. What if Brock Purdy came with your mindset? I'm number 262. Let me just wait and see how everything falls.
No,
Maybe
but you're
I'll be
talking
ready.
about the
Maybe
guy
I
coming
won't.
in. I'm talking about the guy.
Elijah Mitchell was a 7th round running back.
Right.
And what did
But
he
D,
do
they
2
didn't
years ago?
But what I'm saying is that those
became
guys.
the starter,
Okay, let me
so
tell
he
you.
replaced
Do you think
somebody.
Brock Purdy would have been playing if Garoppolo and Trey didn't get hurt? Do you think we ever would have known who Brock Purdy was if those guys didn't get hurt? So opportunity presented itself. It's not like he beat them out in camp. He didn't move up the depth chart. He only was the 3rd string by way of injury. Same thing with Dak. Dak was a 3rd string quarter. He technically replaced Kellen Moore, not even Romo. Kellen Moore was the 2nd string quarterback. He got hurt first, then Romo, then Dak moved up the depth chart and took Romo's job. So what I'm saying is that I'm not even talking about the guy that's coming in. I'm not talking about his mindset. I'm talking about the guy that's in the position that has done enough to earn that spot. Is that spot enough to put competition to?
Tony
to
Pollard.
that degree?
Tony Pollard. He's from Memphis, right? He's out of Memphis, right?
I believe he is. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so when Tony Pollard came into the league and he was with the Cowboys, Zeke was the running back, right?
Yes, he was.
Do you think Tony Pollard, whether immediately down the line, do you think that he envisioned replacing Zeke at some point?
Yeah, of course.
Right?
But did he go? But now think about Zeke. But did any coach go into because when he got drafted that year, that's the year Zeke got his big contract, right? The thing is this: did the Cowboys brass feel that Zeke needed to be in competition with Tony Pollard because they drafted him? And
well,
so
that's a philosophy. That's a philosophy of Jerry Jones. If he drafts you, he has graveyard love.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
So he's going to be loyal to a fault. Because really,
but Zeke was already, but Zeke had earned that spot as RB1. Like there was nobody that was going to come in and take. I'm not talking about Zeke from recent years. I'm talking about the Zeke back in 2018 and 19. That Zeke, nobody was taking his position. Back from 16 to 19. He was the best, one of the best running backs in the league. Nobody was going to come take his position. So you wasn't going to add any competition that'll make Zeke feel that his job could be in jeopardy if a rookie outplayed him. Do you think Cincinnati's going to draft the quarterback in the 1st round with Joe Burrow there? All right, then that's the point I'm trying to make, because you're not going to put any competition there for Joe.
So you're saying it matters where they're drafted, is what you're saying. Because if that's the case, then Trey Lance will most definitely be the starter, based on what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about where you're drafting. What I'm saying is when you draft, you said teams draft so they can get better. I agree with that, but that's only in part. They also draft to get depth. They don't expect certain guys that they draft to be starters. They expect
they don't expect it to be a huge
and rotate.
When teams, and maybe this is why the Cowboys haven't won anything. When a team drafts, right? They draft so that a backup player doesn't provide a huge gap between the starter. That's the best idea of backfilling a position, right?
I don't disagree with that.
So anytime
that's not what the argument is, though.
So
that's not your argument.
Because if I'm understanding you right, you're saying that the players who are the core or the cemented players should feel no pressure to get any better or to play at a high level because they're pretty much core and they're cemented in those positions.
Right, because they don't need motivation from other players.
We're not talking about motivation.
No, we're not talking about motivation. But that's the point I'm making. You're making it seem as if I'm just saying they're going to come in eating a sandwich, come training camp, and they could just sit out and gain weight and not worry about anybody taking their job. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you said competition is good because it gives the guy who's currently the starter, if you will, or at least going into camp as a starter, put some fire under him. Don't make him get comfortable and think that the job is his. In this case, we talk about Purdy and Trey, right? But my argument is that I don't think you need to establish competition. Now, in theory, yes, I agree with you, but in this situation, or when you talk about other players that are cemented in those positions, you don't need to give these guys motivation by bringing somebody in there who could potentially take their job should they have a good training camp.
It is
like I don't think that would happen. You don't need to do that with great players.
It is understood when you draft a player in the same position
Yeah.
that player can potentially replace you.
Yeah, they could.
It may not be immediate. It may not be through training camp. All of a sudden, Debo's the third wide receiver. But
Right.
what I'm saying is, it's understood, depending on when a player is drafted or what they show in OTAs, how good they're able to pick up the system, how fast they're able to ingratiate themselves.
Right.
The players that are core players need to monitor that, and also keep in mind that this person is coming for my job. Now or later, that person is coming to
Not in a
replace
skill
me.
position though, D, but not if you are a tight end like Kittles, a receiver like Debo, multifaceted, mind you, okay, and you're in the quarterback position like Brock Purdy is, and was only one game away from getting his team into a Super Bowl. I don't think so. I don't think a draft is going to. I don't think that. In other words, those positions are so key. Where those positions you need really skilled, successful superstar type players, and for all intents and purposes, based on what we've seen so far with Purdy, and again, I'm not saying make him your franchise quarterback, but the guy has earned that spot, and I don't think it would make sense to now all of a sudden say he needs to earn that spot. He still has not earned the starting quarterback position yet. And you're saying he hasn't earned the starting quarterback. You keep saying the best player should get that position. So clearly you're not sold on Purdy being the best player.
That's not true. That's not accurate.
So do you think Purdy should?
If Brock Purdy is the best player, if Brock Purdy is the best quarterback that the 49ers have, then he should be the starter. That's what I'm saying.
So why you say if? You don't think he's better than Trey right now?
Well, we don't have enough on Trey. We don't know what Trey is. So the fact that we don't know anything about Trey, it's not like Trey has even the body of work that Brock Purdy has. We haven't
Brock
seen.
Got you to okay. So what? But what I'm saying is, even
so if we go off
that,
Jimmy G got us to the Super Bowl, but we still moved on from Jimmy G.
Because you saw enough inconsistency with Jimmy, though, right? I mean, you saw.
What was his winning percentage?
No, he had a very high winning percentage. He did.
He has his winning
moments.
percentage. His winning percentage is the best that Kyle Shanahan has ever had. Without Jimmy G, his winning percentage is not great.
I agree.
Okay, so if we're basing it off of winning percentages, if we're basing it off of body of work, Jimmy G would still be the starter.
Okay.
He wouldn't be in Las Vegas.
Fair point.
But yet he is in Las Vegas.
Right. Fair point. But what was the issue with Jimmy G? It was moments.
Couldn't get you over the hump.
He couldn't get you over the hump. Right. So has Purdy proven that he can't get you? Like, in other words, if this guy got you almost to a finish line, why would you then say, let's get the guy that's on the sideline and see if he could get us over the top? When
you're
the guy
assuming
who got you right there, and it wasn't even his fault that he couldn't finish.
No, and it wasn't his fault. Line. It wasn't his fault.
That's my point. So wouldn't you want to further see what Brock can give you as the starter if he's healthy in a game, in a playoff situation, to get you to the next level? I mean, why that doesn't make sense to me to say, let's go get the guy off the bench who's coming off injury, mind you. Okay.
Both of them are coming off an injury.
Yeah,
so Brock it's not like Brock is whole. See, we're both right. It makes a difference. Both of them are coming off an injury, and if we're talking about who I think is closer to 100%, it has to be Trey Lance by now because he had his surgery, and I think he had a follow-up procedure. Yes. But Brock just had his 3 weeks ago. Right. He just had his surgery 2 or 3 weeks ago. So he's supposed to be throwing within 3 months. And he should be in time for the offseason, the start of the regular season. But my point is, what is wrong with competition? I don't understand.
Wrong with it in theory, but I don't think in this situation. And I think that's what your GM is trying to get you to understand.
No, I think the GM is playing head games. I think he is putting both of them directly and indirectly on alert that they're going to go with the best quarterback.
That very well could be true, but he's not far-fetched still in saying it though. I think the 49ers, I would be interested to know what is, and we have to go online, we can present this to our people here, our followers and viewers here. do you think Brock Purdy should remain the starter? I would be interested to know what the 49er fan base is. You live right there. You're only a stone's throw away from the stadium, if you will, right? You need to find out what is the pulse in terms of the fandom out there, or the fan base, about Brock Purdy.
People love Brock Purdy. People love Brock Purdy.
And I think rightfully, and they should.
And they should. But what if, just hypothetically speaking, what if they see some Trey Lance, and now they see what Kyle and John Lynch saw to make them move up and move up in the draft for Trey Lance? What if they see that now? What if it's on display? He got his injury out of the way, and he's explosive, big arm, and he can embody the same things they see with Brock Purdy. What is wrong with them?
Because I'm gonna tell you why.
It doesn't hurt either one of them.
No, it doesn't. But what you're speaking of is potential, probability, hopefulness, right? What we all would hope with the fact that they drafted, they sold picks to get him, right? But the difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying is Brock is proven already. You already know what you have. So why would you take a chance on the unknown just to tamper with the known? And the known has done very, very well. Like, there's nothing that Brock Purdy has done last year to make you say this guy does not have the ability to take this team to at least a Super Bowl or another NFC Championship game at the minimum. There's nothing. Like, you can't say it. Like, even with it, and again, Garoppolo has a lot more body of work, right? So, in all fairness to him, it's like a guy who only took one shot in the NBA. He's shooting 1,000% from the field, right? But if he's only taken one shot and made it, then of course he's going to have the highest field goal percentage in all of the league, because he only took one shot, as opposed to a guy that took a lot of shots, right? But what I'm saying is that Brock is proven. There's nothing that this guy has done to make you believe that I can't still win with him as my starter. And Trey, I hope to see that. I would want to see that. And maybe he'll show that in preseason, okay? And then you got something valuable there with him. But if Brock is still making the ship move, and he's making throws, and he's winning games for you like he was last year, okay, unexpectedly, and listen, I don't see why you would want to. Why would you want to mess with that? I really don't see. To only get, and then to only have that, and then to only be in a situation, D, where Trey would play, and then what happens if he doesn't play well, right? Not that of course I want all 49 players to fail on the field. That is not in life, but in the field, right? But if he comes out there and he doesn't succeed, then what? Right? And the question now becomes, you started this guy because you drafted him and you sold picks to get him. That wouldn't be the reason. That wouldn't be the reason. But I'm saying, but if he what okay, so what other reason would you want the competition for, though?
He beat out Brock Purdy. If he beats out Brock Purdy, then he needs to be the starter. If Brock Purdy beats him out, then Brock Purdy needs to be the starter. I don't understand. I'm surprised that you say that.
Brock has already proven, D, he's beat him out already because of what he did. That's the point I'm trying to make. You still going on training camp where that's not even real live action.
If Trey Lance didn't get hurt, who's to say we even know what Brock has?
But you can't go with hypotheticals. You got to go with reality. The reality is he got hurt. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to show us what he got. He had an opportunity, right? They chose him over Jimmy to start. Right? Because really what they wanted to do with Jimmy, they wanted to keep Jimmy healthy. That's really what they wanted to do. They really didn't want to get Jimmy hurt. So because we know he's injury prone. But listen, it is what it is. Trey got hurt. I mean, that's the reality. Purdy came in, Mr. Irrelevant, and he balled out, D. Like, that's the best training camp right there. That's your competition in real life. Dude went through the season, came in the middle of a good Miami team right there, took his team the rest of the route, beat my Cowboys, got into an NFC Championship game. What more? I mean, D, that's competition right there in the real life. What you gonna see in training camp? You gonna throw with no pads on and got a red shirt on where you can't get hit? That ain't no competition. He beat him already. It's a done deal. It's a wrap. Trey gotta listen. Trey, get healthy, come back, and when you get out in the field in those situations, make the best of it, bro. Ball out in preseason. That's what you need to do. When them young, hungry rookies you talked about that got drafted,
Well,
they coming for his head in the preseason.
if he balls out in preseason, we need. If we're not going to keep him, then hopefully he gets enough exposure that teams are interested, and then we move on from him. I just want the best player on the roster in every position.
So he's.
I don't understand
the best
why
player on at quarterback, Purdy.
This guy.
Let's
move on, because you're not making sense. That doesn't make sense.
But he's proven it. That's the point I'm trying to get to you. You keep saying all I want is the best player in that position. So you to me,
if you're the best, if you're the best,
all of what Purdy did out the window.
I'm not. I'm saying if you're the best, why would you have an issue proving it?
So D, would you want? So let me ask you a question.
You're acting like his feelings will be hurt to say and Trey go head to head and see who pretty much runs the offense the best, who's able to who performs the best.
But why do you need to do that though? Why?
Okay. All right. That's why the Cowboys lost. The reason why the Cowboys lost 2 playoffs in a row. That's the reason. It's that mindset. Why do you have to be good? Why do you have to excel? Why do you have to be the best? Just settle, because
but you don't need a guy
you
to come
proved it last year,
right?
So why do you have to prove it this year?
I mean, D, indirectly there's going to be competition, right? But I don't think it serves you anything to go into camp saying that this guy that I'm not going to name a starter. I'm gonna have them both compete for their job. I don't see the reason for that.
Well, you can go through the motions and name him as the starter, but as long as you're objectively looking at the play of both of them, and you make an honest assessment as to who will ultimately take your team currently, not in the past.
Right.
But right now, as you see the team in front of you, who is going to be able to elevate you and get you to the Super Bowl? The ultimate goal is to get to a Super Bowl and win it. Who's going to do that?
Who gives you the best opportunity to do that right now?
Oh, well, if we're going off of last scene, Brock Purdy.
Okay. Precisely. That's
doesn't
all the point I'm trying to make.
No, it's a terrible point. We've gone on too long with this because
we have.
So
this is.
Let me ask you a question.
50 minutes on this topic.
I know when a team, the Cowboys, 49ers, Cincinnati, any team you can think of, when they draft players, I want you to when they draft a player in a position that is already occupied. What are they drafting those players? You're saying teams are only drafting for depth?
No,
they don't see a future in these players?
I didn't say that. I never said that. I said I agree with your point that they're drafting players for competition, players that could potentially start, but that's only in part, because not every single player you're going to draft obviously is not going to be a starter, but because you need depth on your team.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you already know that there's some guys on your team, like if they draft a linebacker in the 4th round, is that linebacker going to take Fred Warner's place, or the other guy? I forget your other linebacker name, who's pretty decent. Are those guys going to get replaced? No, they're not. Right? They're going to bring these guys in, and Fred Warner is not going to lose any edge as far as him being one of the best linebackers in the game. He's going to ball out because he understands what it means to stay at that level, because he's a great player. So he understands what it means to play at that level. He don't need no rookie to inspire to put fire on.
You never heard me say that he needed any of these players need rookies to put fire in them. You never heard me say that. We were specifically talking about Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, and you made it a whole team. If they bring in another coach, will Kyle feel some type of way about being the head coach? I didn't say all that. All I'm saying is, with every position, and I'm going to stick to this, every position on the field, I want the best players in that position. If you're the best, then you're the best. If you're not, if someone is better, regardless of when they were drafted, because when you look at where Trey Lance was drafted, and you look where Brock Purdy was, if you're saying that Brock Purdy is better, it doesn't matter where you're drafted. You have to perform, and
No,
you
I
have
agree with
to
you
be
there.
the best.
I agree with you there. But if a guy
Okay,
has
then.
performed already, though, D, that's the point I'm
Not
trying to make.
already. You have to continue to perform.
No, he does.
Because we
I'm
didn't
not
win the
saying
Super Bowl
he's
last
already
year.
a stamp for the Hall of Fame. Of course not. He has to play.
Well, you're trying to stamp. You're
No,
trying to
but
rubber
I don't
stamp
think.
him.
But I don't think Trey is in a position, or nor do I believe that Trey can supplant him because of how well Purdy, indeed, did he not exceed beyond?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Think or imagine all that's within you, and the power that worketh within. Okay, act or think, right? Listen,
Right, he did.
He
did.
exceeded to a degree that was like, wow, right? I mean, the boy. Let's just be honest. The boy took the league by storm. You know what I'm saying? He did, and so I'm saying, like, I think when you look at that, there's levels to this. There's levels to this, and why does a Fred Warner not get replaced? Why does a Debo or a Kittle don't get replaced year in and year out? Why? Because there's levels to this. And you can say, I agree, everybody, we want the best player. We only want those that work hard, that can outplay their competition, and the guy next to you. And if you beat that guy, then you're the best player. I don't care if a dude came in, third round, second round wide receiver, had a good camp and a good preseason. Debo didn't even touch the field until game one. You think he's out? You think he's going to start before Debo? It ain't happening because there's levels to this. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. But there's levels.
But there is it's not just as simple as that. It's body of work, but it's also financial obligation. There is also money tied into it. So, you know,
that too.
This is the reason why Zeke played long past the time he really should have. When somebody on this show said Tony Pollard should get the majority of the touches and Zeke shouldn't, somebody said, nah, Zeke's the starter. You got to keep going with Zeke. And it proved that Zeke, you know, rushing for 2 yards a carry was not the person, and they should have handed the keys over to Tony Pollard sooner, but Zeke was getting paid. Zeke was still getting the money. So, of course, if you're paying somebody, you know, 1 or 2 million or a couple of 100,000 or 600,000-700,000, and you're paying somebody 8 million, well, just by you wanting a rate of return, you're going to play the player that you're paying the most. Hopefully they earn it. Hopefully the money that you've invested in them, you get a return. So that's the reason why players aren't easily supplanted. Someone comes in and they ball out, and this rookie who's getting $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 is knocking someone that's getting $11 million. That's not going to happen.
No, I mean, I agree. I don't disagree with that. I think there are some nuances to that, though. You know, I mean, technically, Dallas we could have sat Zeke down. It didn't matter because they was going to cut him anyway. They knew that. They knew they weren't getting no return on their investment. So they could have stopped. They were going to give Zeke his money whether he performed or not. It wouldn't have mattered. You know what I'm saying? So they could have actually stopped because they see that Zeke wasn't performing anymore. But if you got a guy that's still performing, it's about the money, but it's also that his production still is at a high level, such as your Debos, your Kittles, your CMCs, your Trent Williams. These guys are still performing, and those guys ain't got to touch the ball in preseason, which most likely they're not. They're not going to probably play until the first game, or if it's one quarter or two in the final game of the preseason. Listen, D, there's levels to that. And I think Purdy has earned the right to come into camp as the starter. And unless Trey does something, I mean, just off the chain, and Purdy takes a bad dive, a precipitous fall to his play, then I don't see him losing his job. Not to trade Lance.
Okay, well, let's talk about a person not getting their money. Lamar Jackson is still dealing. He came out today and said that he wanted and requested a trade March 2nd or 3rd. March 2nd, I think.
Yeah, 2nd.
He requested a trade from the Ravens because clearly the bridge is burned. This is
right.
There is no fixing this. So, as suggested on a previous show, if I was Lamar and you couldn't come to grips or couldn't come to terms with the Ravens, what I would do is I would ultimately sign the the tag,
Right.
32 million. I would play maybe a game or two just to kind of show, because I ended last season injured, show and how great of a player, so it's fresh in everyone's mind. And then I would just have a hamstring or back tightness, and
Right.
pretty much be out for the rest of the season. And then that would force the Ravens to make a decision. Either we're going to franchise tag you again at 50 million, or we're going to let you walk. And what that will do is open up to all the other teams. So now they're not responsible for the 2 first-round picks. Because I think that's the biggest problem. It's the money that Lamar is looking for, which he
Right.
clearly earned based on
Right.
what the market is, what
Right.
he's already done as a player.
Right.
He deserves every bit of 200 million plus,
Right.
fully guaranteed.
Sure. I agree.
The problem is a team understanding that they have to give that up and the compensation of 2 first-round picks if the Ravens don't match. I think that is why teams are kind of more in a wait-and-see approach to how everything turns out. What do you say?
Sure. No, I agree with you on that totally. And I agree. I mean, I know we joked about it last week when you came up with the scenario of him just, taking a handoff and getting hurt, handing the ball off and staying out the rest of the season. Honestly, D, I'm not mad at that. And I think you're right, because right now Baltimore has a lot of leverage, right? Because, putting him on that type of franchise tag that's non-exclusive like that, it definitely now says, okay, look at your market, see what's out there. Teams are not going to bid for Baltimore, so they're not going to offer him anything. And so the thing is that if you're Lamar and he's requesting a trade now, I think their GM DeCosta, who's new actually, and he traded Orlando Brown, the offensive lineman. He traded Hollywood Brown, their receiver. Traded these guys, right? Because they wanted a trade, and he will honor somebody's trade because he's on record to say, look, anybody don't want to be in Baltimore, we don't want him here. You don't want to be here, fine. We'll get you out of here, right? And I don't know. I'm sure he'll kind of dance a little bit with that statement when it comes to Lamar Jackson. I don't think he'll be so quick to pull the trigger there, but that very well still could happen, right? And so if you're Lamar and they don't trade you, and they're not going to pay you what you're worth, which clearly they're not going to do, because it clearly seems that if they would have done it, or if they wanted to, they would have done it already. So I'm with you, bro. I feel I agree with you. I think he should chill out, let him, and if they hit him again with another tag, okay, fine. That's 85 million or 82 million, whatever it is, and he gets that paid, and then after that he can walk, and then he's on the market again. And not only that, but his body takes another year rest if he happens to get hurt this coming year, and he gets the time to heal or whatever the case may need to be, which would be a good thing for teams to look at if that be the case. So no, I agree with you. I think it's a travesty though. It's a sad thing. It really is. And I'm really disappointed in Baltimore. I really am. For a team when Ozzie Newsome was running the team there, and he did a really good job keeping guys there. The players loved them. The franchise loved them. Ownership, he really did a good job in doing right by the players. And it's really sad to see that Lamar is actually going through this. You know what I'm saying? All because of the style of play and what the media perceives in terms of him not being an accurate quarterback. And I think that has a lot to do with it too. I think media, unfortunately, plays such a role in contract negotiations because they can sway the public and sway ownership, particularly if they don't have a desire to pay a player. And something negative is being said about the way that player plays through the media.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I think Lamar, and honestly, truth be told, I didn't think Lamar should have played last year. But he put his team, hey, I want to be there for my team, because...
And he thought that was going to mean something.
He thought it was going to mean something. It didn't mean a hill of beans.
Nothing to him at all.
He should be smart moving forward.
Yeah, he should.
Say, yeah, no problem. You want to franchise me? You want to give me the 32 million and you don't want to give me an exclusive tag?
Right.
No problem. You think I'm worth 32? When all I've done for this team already, you think I'm only worth 32 million when you got 32. Other players that have done far less are making 10, 15 million more than me? You think that's cool? No problem. Where do I sign? The second, I would hurt myself signing. Once I got Jackson, once I hit the end, I would just, oh man, I feel something. That's what I would do. And then, yo, listen, put me on IR. That's the first 4 weeks. Then I come back. Listen, each week, IR. Put me on IR. Right after I sign.
As he hit Jackson, all of a sudden his hand just crampled.
Right. It's my throwing hand.
It's my throwing hand.
It's my strong hand. Exactly. I was strong-handed. This is my strong hand. Man. Can't do it. But hey, time will tell. Yeah. Hopefully it all works out for Lamar. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA, man. The Lakers.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
The return of the king.
Boy, I'm so sick of this.
Lakers lose with the king. King James came back, did he not? And somebody said that when LeBron, I will say this, let me start off. I was wrong.
Yes.
I said LeBron. Yes, no, I'm cool with that. Listen.
All right. Okay, but take your time.
I'm gonna give it as much effort as I give all of the other takes. When I destroy you, I don't mind taking my time with that. I'm gonna take my time to say I was wrong. Okay. I was here and I said that I didn't think LeBron James was going to come back. I thought that he was going to be more calculated and make decisions based off of what he felt the team was going to do and their potential to go deep into the playoffs or actually make some noise.
That's right.
And lo and behold, it seemed like he flipped the switch. So I don't know if he was faking all that time, but he was able to flip a switch. He must have watched the show. He was like, I'm going to show Don, I'm okay. I'm going to actually play. So LeBron, only for the second time in his career, came off the bench. And what did he do? He led the team in scoring, of course. What do we expect him to do?
Right.
Anthony Davis went back into his shell. What did we expect him to do?
Well, he had 5 fouls. He got in foul trouble, too.
Okay, whatever excuse you want to make.
But he definitely wasn't aggressive enough.
Austin Reeves regressed. The players that were balling out now have to, the ball is not going to be in your hands like that. The Kang is back, right? So the Kang back, he has to have the ball. And everybody thinks D'Angelo with the hip. The Lakers slipped out of the position because of D'Angelo's hip. His hip was hurting, so he was out. So players are going to have to adjust to LeBron coming back. This is the gift and the curse, right? LeBron is a great player, transcendent. He's able to, he's the quarterback of the team. He's able to get everybody in position, right? Unfortunately, there is not enough time because when LeBron had this new team formed, he only played 1 game and then he hurt his foot. By the way, LeBron, he's touting, the doctors, they were all standing around me and all of them said they never seen anyone heal like this before or recover. Who cares? Did you win the game? You lost, okay? With your foot, that tendon, everything worked and you still lost. But of course, he wants to once again pound his chest. Hey, they said it's amazing. It's a modern miracle that no one's seen tendons come back together. Okay, cool. Great. Congratulations. The problem is there is only 7 games left. So I think LeBron, when he comes back and he's played, number one, Pat Bev said he's too small. Pat Bev put the too small. How do you do that on LeBron? You too small? You the king and a peasant tells you too small? In any case, lastly, LeBron comes back. Everyone's going to have to adjust to him. And see, my fear is, not my fear, it should be your fear. By the time everybody understands, Reeves, this is where you want me, LeBron? 10th place. D'Angelo, I should shoot here, LeBron. This is where you want me? Home. That's what's going to happen. By the time they figure it out and get everybody in place, because Anthony Davis is going to defer to LeBron. He needs to be the driving force, not LeBron. LeBron is 38. LeBron should be the elder statesman that brings the team over the top. When you need a basket to bring the team over the top, that's when LeBron's game should elevate. But there was a lot of watching. People were watching LeBron. They were in awe of him. And as a result, you lost to Chicago. What do you say?
Well, no, I mean, I honestly believe that they'll figure it out. I'm not confident in our defense, and we are turning the ball over a lot. And I think Chicago had over 30 something points on turnovers just alone yesterday. We got to tighten up some things, and the team is still at best a mediocre team, only because again you have pieces that are still new, still trying to figure things out. Because with Obama being out, which is a big loss, with a lot of people not talking about his absence, which is huge. D'Angelo again getting ready to miss another little stretch of games here because of his injury, so that also affects things as well as far as how we're running the offense, because you really want to see what it looks like with D'Angelo and LeBron, right? And how you're going to finish out the games as far as your rotation at the end of it all, because it looks like what's his name, our coach hasn't figured out
Darvin Ham.
really, huh?
Darvin Ham.
Yeah, Darvin Ham. Thank you, sir. Geez, I don't know why I'm thinking blank. Darvin Ham hasn't figured out still how he wants to close things out. It's the middle of the pack rotation that still bothers me. You know, with Hachimura, and then you got Lonnie Walker, who really doesn't see a lot of play, but then he comes in there, and what is he trying to do, right? He's trying to make the best of his opportunity. And so you got him jacking up shots and different things like that. And I think, you know, and then you even got what's his name, shooting threes from the corner, Vanderbilt. There's a reason why Vandy is open like that, right? Because he can't shoot. So, I mean, you know, they still keep, and he takes the shot, and they keep throwing it out there to him. Like, you know, so it's like, guys, you know, be smart. Like,
you need him on defense, though. He brings,
no, you need him on defense because he's great defender, great energy, rebounds. He does it all. But I mean, but that means when you have your situation like that where the ball gets to him in the corner and he takes the shot, that tells you that there's a lack of understanding of basketball. You know what I'm saying? As an offensive unit in that moment. So I mean, I think LeBron is going to help them figure it out. I think what's going to have to happen is they're going to have to quickly, within these 7 games, within the next game with the Bulls, and then I think they got Minnesota after that, they're going to have to figure out their roster. They're going to have to figure out who is going to be in the beginning, the middle, and the end of what all that's going to look like. Because if you're still trying to match and piece and all that stuff, that's going to bring too much inconsistency. To your point, the guys are not going to feel comfortable. They're not going to get into a rhythm. And then you got LeBron, obviously, who needs the ball in his hands. And so you already taking shots away. And I agree with everything that you said, but I think they'll figure it out. I do think that they'll get to a place where they'll say, okay, this is our core. Okay, this is who we're going to start, and this is who we're going to finish with. And these are the guys, and these guys are going to have to know their role. So I would say by the Minnesota game, they're going to need to know exactly where they are. By halftime of Minnesota, they're going to have to figure it out, if they haven't figured out already, because I'm sure LeBron has already been breaking film down and trying to get these guys into a place where they need to be. But we have to work on our defense. Perimeter defense is bad right now for the Lakers. So that was a bad loss, man. Just a bad loss.
In between healing at an alarming rate, he's able to break down film. Listen, so let me ask you a question. Where do they end up? Do they get to the 6th seed? Because LeBron said, hey, first of all, he said a lot of profound things this week. He speaks for himself. He doesn't want anyone speaking for him. Then he said, forget the play-in. Forget the play-in. I want to be in the 8th seed. Does that make sense? Now, he said, forget the play-in. I want to be in the 8th seed. Well, LeBron, you very well still will be in the 8th seed. If you're in the 8th seed. Through,
right, exactly.
Via the play-in. You might be there via the play-in.
Right.
Where do you see them ending up? 10th?
No, I think they're in the play-in.
They slipped down to 9, right?
Yep.
And you've been getting help from Dallas. Is now the problem is Minnesota. Now Minnesota, Big Cat coming back, that might be something. That might be a problem.
Yeah, very
Cat
much
coming back. OKC trying to play for something. There is a few teams that kind of, the fact that the Warriors are playing, their players dropped, because that only hurts you.
And we got Phoenix too. We got Phoenix.
And you got Phoenix. And I think LeBron. I think KD will be back.
Yeah,
and that's
they'll
the
have
first
something
time
to play for too, because they haven't clinched anything. So they'll have something to play for. Yeah,
of course. So it's going to be interesting. I do think the Lakers are going to be. They're going to make the play-in for sure. It would be a failure if they didn't. It would be a colossal failure. If you got arguably the face of the league. You got Anthony Davis. You made these, ninth hour picks. You at the trade deadline, you made all these moves. Listen, I think you should be able to at least get in 10th place and kind of play your way in. Now, what they don't want to be in is 9th or 10th. If they're going to be in the play-in, they need to be in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They need.
But either way you cut it, it's going to be 2 games anyway.
Right. Because if you lose, you get another game.
Right.
And
if you lose, then you play the 7th and 8th play. The loser of 8th plays the winner of 9th and 10th.
Correct.
So
correct. And right now you got that, and any of those teams that they could end up playing, because even the Clippers at the 5th spot can still lose that spot. I mean, the Lakers are only a half a game behind them, a game and a half behind them, and we do play the Clippers again. I don't know what our head-to-head matchup is with them, but you got the Clippers at 5, Golden State at 6, Minnesota at 7, the Pelicans at 8, Lakers at 9, and Thunder at 10. And honestly, D, I'm nervous. I don't want to be in a one and done with any of those teams, to be quite honest with you. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
think you guys will be one and done.
I don't know, D.
You guys got all the banners. There's no way you would be one and done with those teams.
Well, thank you for your support, sir.
Listen.
And it's
It's a storied franchise. There is no way Laker Nation stand up. There's no way.
So what are you saying? Is a conspiracy involved here that the NBA is going to make sure the Lakers get in?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. They've already, I don't know what they started doing to stars of other teams. I don't know. They were doing all kind of stuff. But if it's a toss-up between OKC and the Lakers, who do you think is going to make the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. Somebody's swallowing their whistle for sure. No question. A check will clear somewhere.
It will.
You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mad at it.
Right. So the league wants they want it to be they want their best players. And I'm not saying OKC has been playing really well. They have a good team, a good kind of nucleus, but of course it's a small market. And it's not as exciting. It's not LeBron. It's not AD. It's not
really not
D'Angelo.
Lakers,
it's not. They just don't have it. So
I agree.
I think you guys are safe. You'll get in. I mean, and you guys slipped a spot, but unlike the Nets, who actually moved up over the since we last spoke.
That was a bad loss to Orlando, though, bro.
It was, but we beat Cleveland. No, excuse me. It wasn't Cleveland.
No, y'all lost to Cleveland, too.
We lost to Cleveland, but we beat who did we beat? We beat a team that I forget.
Let me see. I'll tell you right now.
I forget who we beat. We beat a team that was a surprise that we would beat them.
Miami.
Yeah, Miami. We beat them by 29 points.
Bro, I didn't even realize. So y'all lost 5 in a row before y'all beat Miami.
Yeah, we did. And we're still in the 6th. We're still in the 6th seed.
Well, Katie and Kyrie gave y'all enough cushion, so
As was said before.
You said that.
So,
but y'all. Well, like I said, if y'all play the Knicks, I want y'all to beat the Knicks. But
I don't know if we'll play the Knicks.
It's looking like a one and done, because again, Cleveland, you can end up with them, right? You're in the 6th seed. 6 plays who? 5 and 6
3,
play
right?
each other.
6 plays 3. 4 and 5 play each other.
1 play 8, 2 play 7, 3 play 6. Right, and 4 and 5. Right, 3. Oh yeah, so you play Philly. Yeah, I'm saying if the season ended today, if the standings don't change, y'all would play Philly. Yeah. Wow, D. Well, I mean, it's at least
this guy's in the play-in. What do you D? D.
Well, I'm just saying, D. Well, D. Y'all not gonna beat. D. Y'all not getting out the first round. I want y'all to beat the Knicks.
And at this point, neither will you.
You know what I'm saying? I think we stand a better chance of beating Denver than y'all would beating Philly.
Okay.
I think so. I think the Lakers. My fear is this:
I've been saying all season
in the play-in.
Who have I said all season?
What?
Who have I said all season? I'm not afraid of. Now, granted, some of that time of not being afraid we had Kevin Durant and Kyrie. But who did I say we were not afraid of? Out of all the teams,
because of Embiid's injury issues and stuff. So yeah, you would play. You would, yeah. I think, yeah.
And Harden is coming back. He had some kind of Achilles issue. He's coming back. He had just missed 3 or 4 games. Now Tyrese Maxey is a great player. I say great.
Maxey's a baller.
He's balling out.
Exactly. He's a star.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a star.
We use it loosely. Okay.
So
Tyrese Maxey is really good. We have Embiid with his issues. He might have, I don't know if he has Crohn's. I don't know if he has irritable bowel syndrome. I don't know what he has. But playoffs, it's triggered. As soon as April comes around, that stomach starts to bubble. And it's right during the game. He gotta tip down into the tunnel. You gotta lift his finger and walk down into the tunnel.
Right. You gotta do a church move. You know what I'm saying?
I think that I'm not super concerned about Philly.
But I don't think I think
we can't beat them. We can't beat
them.
Not in
the 7-game series though.
But they'll know that they played us. Put it like this.
I think y'all.
There will be no sweeps. There won't be any sweeps.
No, I think y'all.
And it won't even be a gentleman's sweep. I think it'll go at least 6 games.
Yeah, I could say 5 or 6. Yeah, but y'all will make it hard for them. No question about it. Y'all will definitely test them.
But one thing we don't have to worry about. We don't have to worry about losing pre-playoffs. One of our teams.
No, y'all don't.
One of our teams will be concerned with even the making, because the play-in is not the playoffs. The NBA does not recognize it as being part of the playoffs.
No, and they shouldn't. Yeah,
they shouldn't. So your team potentially will be lost in the abyss. It's not even the playoffs.
We won to play in before, and we've done. Well, I mean, we won since LeBron has been there. I'm saying since they changed the rule. But I think if we get out of the play-in, I think we can definitely. I think we can upset Denver. Denver does not scare me at all. In a 7-game series, now it's a clean slate. It's brand new. We ain't got to worry about what they did in regular season.
As long as AD is dropping 15 points, I don't care how many rebounds he has. As long as AD is
I agree.
Sub 25 points a game, you got no shot.
I agree with that.
You got no shot. I don't care. New slate, old slate, Mr. Slate. It doesn't matter.
But AD has balled out in the playoffs since he's been with the Lakers. And we would have beaten Phoenix that year had he not gotten hurt. That we was up 2-1, and he was doing, even though Ayton got the best of him in that first game, but he came back and he started balling out like AD, and then he got hurt, and that was it. No. So if AD can stay healthy, and like you say, if he gets over 25, AD gets in that 30 range, it's a wrap. My only problem with AD is AD cannot shoot free throws when it counts. That's his only problem. He is a poor free throw shooter.
This is his only problem? I think he has more than that. But
it's a lot. Well, the only other problem, 2 other problems AD has, right?
Okay, here we go now.
It's his health and being aggressive on a more consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? But other than that,
and LeBron playing is going to hamper his aggression.
I don't think so. AD has been aggressive with
and speaking of competition, we talked about that earlier. If AD had that competition that I was speaking about, although LeBron is the face of the league, if AD felt like, yo, I'm going to make my name, I'm going to make my name within the confines of the game, but I'm going to put my imprint on this game, you would love him. If he pushed himself and was like, nah, I'm going to be the man, we both going to be the man, we're going to be Batman and Batman, or 1A and 1B.
Right.
But see, but because you just fall back because it's clear. It's clear.
That's more personality driven, though. I mean, AD is not. It's not in his personality. Just like LeBron, right? He gets knocked for not being like Jordan and Kobe with the killer mentality.
But yet, LeBron, when he goes on the team, he makes sure that the ball's in his hands, and he makes it crystal clear who the alpha of that team is.
Right. Well, but
people will let you get away with whatever you allow them to.
Well, right, but you got to remember too, right? LeBron wasn't that way when he went to Miami. Wade had to tell him after they lost the first year to Dallas, like, Bron, this is your team. Like, you got to take over. He kept deferring to Wade. and he's like, no, this is your
He
team.
had
And
to-
LeBron has told that to AD. AD just don't. He just won't take it. But there's
you
still
said-
levels to this.
You
Who's going
said
to take
he had
AD's
to
spot?
learn. When I mentioned that LeBron had to learn to win and learn, and part of that learning to win from Wade, right? Because Wade had to relinquish it, right? According to you, he had to relinquish the keys to LeBron and say, hey, you got to take us where we want to go, right? Ultimately.
Right.
He had to learn that through Wade.
So you saying that's what KD did? KD had to learn in Golden State? Is that what you're saying? He had to learn how to win?
Why are you talking about KD?
Because I know that's what that
this
point
is your
is.
Charles Barkley moment.
That's
Because Charles Barkley,
where you going.
Charles Barkley always finds a reason to talk about Kevin Durant.
I love it.
Even when we're not talking about it.
I agree with
And
Charles.
you know what's so beautiful about it? When it's all said and done, after Charles Barkley says everything,
right?
You gotta say champion. Champion.
It don't matter.
You gotta say MVP Kevin Durant.
Bus rider, and then put a bus on his.
You can do it. That's fine.
You can put bus on there.
You can make it a four. You can make it a 4-finger ring, and have a bus. No problem. It's still a championship. It still says NBA champion on it.
But it's a sucker MC championship, though. You know what I'm trying to say? I'd rather not win. You know what I'm saying?
Clearly, by you saying that you don't want competition, clearly you would rather lose than have the best player and win and excel. Clearly. And I'm learning this.
That's not what I'm
America,
saying.
I'm learning this. I've known this man for 20 plus years. And I'm just learning that he would rather lose than be competitive and push somebody to greatness.
That I tried to beat the best team of players in my era than to join forces with a team that was already great and already dynastic.
That begged you to come there.
Only to beat LeBron. But KD could have said no. He didn't have to accept the invitation. He could have said, no, I'm going to beat y'all, then I'm going to go beat LeBron.
Oh, geez.
That's how we going to do it. But
he already wasted so much time with Westbrook.
Huh? He could have gotten what? Listen, KD could have got Westbrook out of there. Come on. He had enough cachet to get him out.
I don't think so.
He could have. He easily could have done that. Ain't no doubt about it. Just like KD.
So what happens? Right? You're acting like Oklahoma City is such a destination. Like, okay, I'm going to move this guy out, and another star or someone is going to come.
So let me ask you something. You don't think people would have played, and I don't think this is the case with Dame in Portland, but I do believe that if KD wanted somebody to play with him in OKC, I think they would have went there. With KD,
Did anyone go to Cleveland with LeBron? First go round.
They could. Well, they would have.
Well,
but
nothing.
But nobody.
Day is from Friday. I'm talking about. Did anybody go to Cleveland with the face of the league, LeBron in his prime? The answer is no.
Nobody was doing
location,
that. But nobody was doing that.
Location.
You mean the first go round? First go round.
But
nobody was pairing with anybody then. LeBron paired with, because he wanted out of Cleveland anyway, because he just did like Dan Gilbert and he wanted out anyway. So he wasn't going to try to win there because he just felt like they weren't going to do
anything. So now you're giving him an excuse why he left. And why if you're the man, why didn't you, LeBron didn't have the cachet to bring people to Cleveland? Because he came back. Remember, Cleveland, this is for you?
Yeah, he came back.
Okay, Cleveland! This is for you!
And you know
so
what?
he did that.
Yes,
he did that,
and
he brought somebody back there, right? So it wasn't about him not liking Dan Gilbert and open letter that Dan Gilbert wrote to LeBron.
It wasn't about Dan Gilbert. He did it for Cleveland. He did it for the city of Cleveland.
Oh,
but that's the point I'm trying to make, though, D, is that nobody was forming super teams, right? Until LeBron did it. Now you're saying he could have done it in Cleveland, right?
Did Boston have a super team? I'm wondering. Did they have a super team? What do you mean nobody was doing it? Boston had a super team. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so let's go on to the next thing, because this guy is just saying anything. He's just saying anything to defend LeBron.
I could listen. It's cool. Well, at least LeBron went back to
Cleveland.
No,
but at least.
How come KD didn't go back to OKC? He could have go back to OKC and win.
OKC. Rod is telling you. Let me tell you what he says. He says Hachimura is one of the top mid-range shooters in the league. So everything that comes out of his mouth is already discredited. You should already know.
He can shoot mid-range shots. He can. He is. I'm gonna find some stats on that. I'm gonna find some stats.
You hear that, nutso? The boy here says he owes me. He owes me.
Yes.
That is a nutso statement. That's a nutso statement. That Hachimura is the top mid-range shooter in the league.
I think he's one of the good mid-range shooters. I believe so. I'm gonna pull that up, and on the next episode, we're gonna bring that up. I'm gonna have some facts on that. I really do.
All right.
I think he's a good.
Real quick, let's talk about
what's up,
Kyrie and Luka, man. Listen, I think I'm gonna double down on the fact that I think Kyrie is going to get a max deal. I think it could be Dallas. It could be some other suitors, because remember, you said nobody wanted him. And then when Brooklyn was trading him, everybody was reaching out, right? So I think he hasn't hurt himself in this situation. I just think that him and Luka together could potentially work. I also think that they just don't have a surrounding or supporting cast.
No, they don't.
2 players can put up 70 points. That should be enough. 70, 80 points. That should be enough to get you over the top. But when you have Kleber, who shot your eyes out and beat y'all last week or whatever, when you have Kleber winning, but he's not consistent. You don't have enough consistent players. You don't need someone on Kyrie or Luka's level, but you do need players. They don't play defense, and you need. No. They missed. Finney-Smith was a big loss for them. Yeah, we got Dorian Finney-Smith. That was a big loss for them. They need a defensive presence, and they need someone else that can spot up and shoot. If they get that, I think they have a good shot of making some noise next year. Because Mark Cuban could have been smart and jumped on it so that he gets Kyrie now, kind of test out the chemistry between him and Luka. And clearly, it's enough ball for both of them. They can play and still get theirs and not infringe on the other person. So they can still, one can get their 30, the other one can get 40, or take turns. They can both score. They just need defense to, be coupled with that and see what happens. What do you say?
Well, I think what's going to happen is I wouldn't be surprised if they fire Jason Kidd, which I think they're going to end up making him the scapegoat. And Jason is a very good defensive-minded coach. And I think, because remember, if you go back to Jason Kidd, he built that Milwaukee team. A lot of people forget that. He built that Milwaukee team before Budenholzer came in and took him over the top. But that team, much like what Jackson did with Golden State, and got them into that hard-nosed type of play. He can't seem to get that going in Dallas. And like you said, they don't have the supporting cast. They don't have the consistency of the shooters that they need, and they definitely don't have the defense. I think Jason Kidd is going to end up losing his job. I really think that's what's going to happen, right? Because something's going to have to give, and they're going to have to try to find somebody in there who can make them work. They do work from a pure basketball sense as far as being scorers, but I still don't think it's enough. I think they need a system. I think they need a certain way to play. And I don't know if that can be accomplished with both Luka and Kyrie in the way that they play and to get these other guys going, because a supporting cast only works when the stars kind of have their role. And you're going to see and I think what you see in Dallas is what you kind of almost see it with Brooklyn when Kyrie and KD was there. You had 2 scorers that can score, but the symmetry around the other players and their role, and because there was so much inconsistency with injuries and of course Kyrie suspensions and stuff, there was really no way to ever get these guys in sync. And I think, to me, if you're Mark Cuban, you really
we were a little more consistent than they were. We had Claxton on defense. We had
y'all did, but their injuries also derailed, I thought, anything that the supporting cast could really do for you guys, right? Right. So I think when you look at Dallas, you that supporting cast is not as good as what KD and Kyrie had in Brooklyn. And I agree with you if you're making that point. But I think the thing is with those guys is with Kyrie and Luka, I still think they need to find a system for those guys. There's no system. I think if you're just going to have the mindset that you got two good scorers, let's just get a piece here, piece there. But those two guys still got to find a way to play within a certain type of system that works, where they're going to have to defer. Not like you said, one can score 40, another can score 30. But you still got to get that third scorer in there. You still got to have another guy who maybe every 5 or 6 games, he puts up 25 points or something like that. You got to be able to have that kind of going in there. So I think that's the thing that you got to have. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think, a 17-point third player, I think, would be beneficial. We'll see what happens. Maybe they're revamping. Maybe it's.
You think they're going to sign Kyrie long term? You think?
I think he will get a long-term deal. I would think that Dallas would be in the market for him. If not, most definitely there'll be at least 2 or 3 teams that are willing to pay him a long-term deal. I think he's done enough. I think the fact that he was able to, clearly going to a team, there was questions about could any other superstar go to play with Luka? Could he handle that? Clearly he has. I think
they can play
work
together.
They can. Together. I just think they need some other pieces. But listen, Final Four is coming down to the wire, and this is all I'm going to say about Final Four. I've been watching the women's basketball because I think it's actually more competitive, more exciting.
That's what I've
to
been
this
hearing,
point.
yeah.
I think I'll probably tune into the men's down the stretch as it gets to the Final Four. But in the playoffs, the women's has been way more competitive, in my opinion. There's just one thing I'm asking. One thing, please. South Carolina. If they win tonight, they play Iowa. Somebody, please beat Caitlin Clark. She's so smug. I want her to lose so badly.
Really?
She, of course, she did. She made history yesterday, although they gave her a rebound that she didn't have. First person in women's or men's NCAA playoff history to have a 40-point triple-double.
Nice. 41
points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. The rebound they gifted her because they wanted her to make history. But she is, when someone comes off as if they're humble but they're smug.
Okay. How she comes off?
Yeah. I need Dawn's team. Come on, Dawn. I need you to handle that. And then if you win I think they play tonight or tomorrow, then they play them on Saturday. And I'm going to tune in I think they play Friday. I'm going to be there. I'm not going to be in the building, but I'm going to be glued to my TV because I want her to be shut down.
Really?
Please. I would be so disappointed if South Carolina cannot beat Iowa. Please do me that favor. And then now I'll be happy. I'll be happy with the turnout of whoever wins. It doesn't even matter. I just don't want her to be, make it to the finals.
Well, South Carolina, I think, won already tonight. Were they playing tonight?
Yes.
I think they beat Maryland already. So
okay, perfect. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. So I like Dawn. I remember her playing. Staley, the coach, right? Yeah. Now I'll be honest, and I'm probably sad to say this as a sports show host, but yeah, I have not watched any, and I mean any college basketball at all. Like you, I'm gonna wait until they get down. I like to kind of get to the Final Four. In some cases even the Elite Eight. I would sometimes in some seasons get there. But I'll be honest, I haven't watched any college basketball. Just have not had the time to really get to it. But now I'm going to get in there, and I've heard, just stuff I saw on Twitter and different things that the women's basketball tournament has been very competitive and very fun to watch from what a lot of people are saying. So now that you've you brought me up this stuff. I'm definitely gonna root for South Carolina. I definitely don't like any smugs. So if this girl is who you say she is in terms of her demeanor and stuff.
Now, she balls. She balls, but I think.
Well, I mean, that's 40 points, a triple double like that.
Yeah.
In a tournament, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
But I think she hasn't come across the right team. The team, I think South Carolina will tenderize her a little bit. I think if you feel like she's coming off of screens but she needs to feel South Carolina a little more. And I think just the fluidness of her shot, and all, I think all of that can be. You want them to be apprehensive when they pull up, or you want them to feel coming around a pick. You want them to fight through the pick, get to her. Let her get 30 free throws. If you want to make it through your free throws, like that. I think that South Carolina is going to, they're going to get into it a little bit, and that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah,
we come back. Yeah. She had a 55 triple-double. Destroy them.
Then our producer's going to put up her smug face on the screen and be like, that's for you, D.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
South Carolina is undefeated this season completely.
Yeah.
I think
36-0.
36-0. So, yeah. So I think they have a really good shot.
No, that's what's up. Yeah, I'm a root for him. Like I said, I like Dawn. I remember, watching her play, back in the day. So yeah, I always root for my old school. So yeah, I like Dawn. I think she's cool, and like to see her. I like to see her win. So yeah, cool. That should be good. That should be good. But right now, I'm the only basketball. I'm just more about these Lakers, man. These Lakers.
I mean, really.
Yeah, man. I'm under pressure of these Lakers. If I was
you, I wouldn't even watch that. It's not competitive either.
Well, my Lakers are still, they I understand why you gave up on basketball. I realize that, I understand, I mean, it's understandable. It's not really, even though y'all are in it, but y'all are like still out of it now. You know what I mean? It's like, there's really only like 7 seeds in the Eastern Conference now. Like no one even considers Boston. I mean, Brooklyn to be.
Well, actually, we're the 6th seed. You're right. There's only really 7. You're right. Absolutely. There's only really 7. We have.
Well, I mean, at the end of it all, it's going to be like, when I say that, in other
if there's
words,
7 in the West, where are you guys actually? If there's only
I'm saying, but once we get into the playoffs, then that's when everything counts, right? If we get into the playoffs, then now we become a legitimate contender, Whereas when you guys get in there, you're not going to be a legitimate contender. You're going to.
It's a lot of ifs. Somebody said earlier in the show, we're doing a lot of ifs and maybes and. We don't deal with that, right? It's what is, right?
Yeah, you're right. It is what it is. Let's look at reality. All right, that's it. Well, the reality is we still got a chance to get into the playoffs. All right.
Yeah.
You do. Don't get too comfortable. Y'all can slide down and get out the playoffs altogether.
Absolutely. That won't happen. That won't happen.
Why couldn't you? Because if it didn't, that means y'all have clinched, right? Y'all didn't clinch.
We didn't clinch anything, but what I'm saying is 6, we're at 6 now. The likelihood of us going to 11 is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So we're going to hook a crook. We're going to be in the playoffs.
I don't know, D.
Well, you said we weren't going to make it at all. And I said 5 to 7 is where we're going to be. And so far, so good.
We already lost. You got to land.
We have the easiest schedule left, or the second easiest schedule left. So I'm not saying we're going to win them all, but I think we'll win enough. Knicks still got to play Miami. There's some other teams, other moving pieces that, unfortunately, sometimes we capitalize off of teams that are close to us losing. Like Dallas lost. Had you guys won, you could have really capitalized off of that. But you lost.
Oh, no, that was a bad loss. The Dallas game and the Chicago game. And going back to...
no, I'm talking about just recently. Dallas lost again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean Dallas lost. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys lost too. But had you won, that would have kind of either kept you in the 8th seed, but now you're in the 9th seed. But listen.
Yeah, but that's all right. We'll bounce around, but then we'll land and we'll get into the playoffs, and it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll get in there. I don't think we'll lose.
You can always say, when they tried to bury me, but then they didn't know they was planting us. That's what you can say. Oh, they thought they were burying you, but they were just planting the seed.
That is actually a good bar, though. That's a good bar right there. That is. I've always loved that bar. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. They don't know. And you're going to see the LeBron and AD sprouting like this, branches and producing much fruit, that their fruit should remain. And you're going to see some great stuff going on here, bro.
Okay.
All right? Because we getting that playoffs, D. It's going to be something. You already know. I'm telling you. Nobody wants to see the Lakers. If you got to
play Denver or Memphis, good night.
We could beat both them webs. They ain't nothing. Memphis is, as you said earlier, an immature team. They are.
But Ja's been back, and he's picked up right where he left off.
No, I didn't expect.
Not so much with the fronts and everything, but hey, 27 points.
They're the
very
boys
much.
Ball.
Yeah, they're
like KD. They can score in their sleep.
Everybody can't be like KD. Everybody can't be KD.
Why can't he be like KD? He can ball like KD. Like I'm saying, he could be out and just come back and ball. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Ja wasn't injured. That's first off. He wasn't injured this time, right? He was out. He was out with thuggery. He was out on a thuggery break.
Right, thuggery leave. He's on thuggery leave. Right? Taking some thug leave.
Right, he was on some thug leave. PTO. PT thug.
Right. He's there for thug, right?
Yeah, but listen, in any case,
yes, sir.
Shout outs to Infinite Audio for the music.
I
Shout outs to Kingdom Creative for the production.
KST is in the building.
Rod, I appreciate you joining me.
Yep. This is good tonight, D.
Teaching everybody what is the problem with this generation. Nobody wants to compete for anything. They want stuff handed to them. And that's probably the problem with society.
Lord. No. Listen. What the problem is, I'll make this very, very quick last points. America, don't let Donald fool you. What his problem is, he wants to take away what people have earned. He wants to take away those who have sacrificed and earned their spot and give it to some up and coming unproven. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's what D. So see the contrast of that whole thing, because that's what D is trying to say. He don't think he thinks Hall of Famers, okay, should still earn their spots and whatnot on a team. So, but that's hence the great superstar, good players. See, D doesn't understand.
He said goodness is one of the.
I said goodness.
What I'm saying. Goodness.
I'm a church boy, y'all.
Mercy. Long suffering down.
Long suffering.
He's a long suffering player.
He's a long suffering player, right?
Right.
Oh gosh.
Meekness. Meekness. Tender-hearted. We got a tender-hearted player right here.
Tender-hearted player, right?
LeBron would be tender-hearted,
what?
Right? Because he wants everyone to like him. Listen,
whatever. KD will be gentle, right? KD is he don't want nobody say nothing about him. Why don't you be nice with him? You know what I'm saying? Don't say nothing about him. He can't take no smoke though. We'll talk about Charles Barkley though, y'all. I agree. He needs to keep bringing the smoke to KD. And KD, I say this, D, we can talk about it on Friday, the next show. Your boy, he better win. He better win. Because you was crying when he left, all caught up in his interviews and all that stuff. But let me tell you something. He better win, D. He don't win, D. I'm telling you, if he don't get another chip before his career is out, bus rider. Remember the big steering wheels on a bus in New York like this? That's KD. Bus rider, bro. He better win another chip on his own, like Kobe won without Shaq. So that's all I gotta say.
Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol was on that team.
But he was number 2. He was the Robin to Kobe's Batman. I mean,
okay,
he wasn't,
yeah, Kobe
KD
ran
is
off
Batman
every other
right
Batman. Okay, so yeah,
he's
obviously
Batman,
Kobe wanted to be the man on the team.
Right. Well, KD needs to be the man on his team because he wasn't the man on his team. He was the best player on his team, but he wasn't the man on his team.
All right, we're not going to start that. But listen, man, please like, share, subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube page. Sorry we went on a rant about competition and Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy and all this
Yeah,
other stuff.
yeah. I
But
can't believe we talked about Brock Purdy that long. Wow.
yeah, because
Yeah.
you were defending and saying that we don't need to compete with stuff. But we're gonna end the show. Once again, like, share, subscribe. Producer is trying to
our producer's gonna get us after this, y'all.
Appreciate it. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.